So here are the very latest numbers for you right now. 108 cases across New York, a total of 15 within the 5 boroughs. Just joining us now to talk more about this, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in this morning. You know, Mayor de Blasio announcing this morning 3 new cases. 2 of those specifically are in your borough, are in Brooklyn. So educate and understand right now, what do we know about those 2 new cases?
Well, we don't have much information. The flow of information, I think, is so important. That's probably one area where we're lacking. We know we have 2 more cases, but the actual individuals and who they are, we don't have much on that.
So that's frustrating for a lot of people to hear, the we don't know answer. And I'm not blaming you for this, but there seems to be a misflow of information, really, and getting it out there quickly to the public, right? Everybody wants to know, where are this? Are they being quarantined at home? Are they in hospitals? What are the numbers right now in terms of quarantines within Brooklyn? Do we know that?
We only know we have 6 cases in Brooklyn. We have 1 case that the person came from New Jersey and actually was diagnosed. But the total number of quarantine, and we still don't know, to be honest with you, we have to even have a conversation about quarantine laws. Can the state actually quarantine someone, or is it just voluntary quarantine? There's a big question mark that lingers over this entire conversation that we need to really go back and start talking about.
So there are some confusing messages, you know, not to go to a crowded place, but then obviously we live in New York City. A lot of places are crowded, including the subways. What is your view right now of how people should go about and conduct their daily lives?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, when you look at the mortality rate, and we need to really take a step back for a moment, because I know you hear it often, but it's the truth. The flu is a major issue, almost 7% of the death rate. Coronavirus is about 3% of the death rate. The number of cases of flu are large. We got that, but at the same time, it's the uncertainty that is really impacting many people around this conversation. What government must do now? We must look at our response, because this is only the beginning. The overuse of antibiotics, we've been hearing this for a long time, that we're going to start to see viruses like this. And so we need to build the right infrastructure of getting the information out. Where's the Department of Aging? How come they're not in every senior center? How come we're not engaging our seniors who are more likely to be part of the death rates because of either pre-existing conditions or based on health issues? And then we have to talk about our overall health policies. You know, this is what I've been talking about for years.
So was the city prepared for this? Is there enough testing in your borough?
No, we were not, and I think the CDC dropped the ball. Technology is there and is available. We should have local labs. I think the governor was right. Why are we just sending? Imagine in the day and time we're living in, we're sending out tests to Atlanta, waiting for the cases to come back. Now, keep in mind, a large number of the cases are undiagnosed. If you're poor without health care, this goes back to the health care fight, why you need health care for everyone. If you don't have health care, you may ignore the symptoms. You're seeing a major crack in our healthcare system in America.
And you were doing something today really to bring all these entities together within Brooklyn.
Yes, on the local level. We're not going to wait for national or statewide or citywide. In Brooklyn, we're bringing together all of the basic entities and say, hey, how are we going to deal with this in Brooklyn?
There have been some cases of xenophobia about coronavirus concerns. Obviously, throughout the city, we're seeing a big impact there. One of your appointees to a community board, their team went off on a pretty hateful anti-Chinese rant last week. His name was Ronald Stewart. I just want to get your official response to that incident. It was on Facebook.
Yes, and yesterday we had an event in Sunset Park with our large Asian community. To be clear, that this is about, it's not about the Chinese community. I don't know of a Chinese case. You know, so we think this is a Chinese virus. No, this is a virus.
Should Ronald Stewart keep his appointment?
He's not going to be reappointed to the community board, and I think that Assemblywoman Frontis, she also removed the person on her staff. We cannot use hate to fight a virus. We have to use coordination, and that's what we did yesterday in Sunset Park with our large Chinese communities.
Understood. I want to switch gears here and just get your quick take on this incident that took place in Brooklyn, this Canarsie arrest with the NYPD. You are a former NYPD member. I'm sure you looked at the case here with Fitzroy Gale. Over 10 million people viewed that video. Was there a resist here? Should the officers have been as forceful going into that?
A lot of holes in the case. Number one, where was his partner? We've learned from cases in the past, you don't split up from your partner. If the one go try to pursue another. He was there alone for a long period of time. Then the responding officers, the way they reacted, they overreacted. That could have turned into a very ugly scene. No one took control of the situation. He should have never had the person facing him in that manner, holding on to him in the front. That was a total mix-up that those officers, number one, at a minimum, must be retrained, and at a maximum, those who use the overuse of force needs to be disciplined.
And should they be suspended while the investigation continues?
They should be placed on modified assignment while the investigation is taking place. And I'm a little concerned that the city didn't come out more forceful and state that this is not how we police in the city. That has taken us back. That is why we need to legalize marijuana. The most I heard of these individuals that they were smoking marijuana inside the park. That's enough. That's not enough to get a response that we saw.
Understood. Eric Adams, thank you.
Thank
and we'll
you.
be covering that event that you're holding today. By the way, I just want to point out, we did ask the NYPD and the commissioner to come into our studio to address that case of Fitzroy Gale since we had Fitzroy and his family on last week. They have declined to come on.